Hello, boys and girls. First, it's the 7th of October. Second, happy birthday, Mr. President. That's right. Today is the birthday of Vladimir Vladimirovich Putin. Now, would you think I was going to say happy birthday to Biden? Yeah, right. Anyways, moving on. First, I'd like to talk about the genocide, I guess you could call it, the ethnic cleansing of the Appalachians. You know, I lived half my life in North Carolina. No big secret. And I've been in the Appalachians quite a few times. Used to go hiking up there when I was in university, first time around. Go hiking up there with my friends. And really nice places up there. So you got the storm that came through. And, you know, the disaster, I mean, it is a disaster. I have friends, acquaintances up in those areas who are telling me, you know, everything's wiped out. And that's how it is. Everything's wiped out. Many, many dead. Not this 200 and something that the official claim. And there's eyewitnesses that are starting to post videos about bodies piling up under bridges that are clogged up. Whole families wiped out. And then you got the United States regime. I can't call it a government. It's a regime. An anti-human regime. And the shit that they've been doing to Russians through their proxy Nazis in Ukraine, to the things they've been doing to Arabs, by the way, 20% of whom are Christians, through their proxies in Israel, or maybe they're the proxies of Israel, hard to tell. They're doing that to Americans, and to a smaller degree, I guess you could say they did it in Mali. Not Mali, in Hawaii. What's the name of that town? Starts with M. Mali's a country. Well, they gave the people, they quite literally, excuse me, fix something. There, no more screen buzzing. They quite literally gave the people, what, $750? And that's what they're now promising to give people who have lost everything, $750. That is after they prove property damage. If they're dead, they're not going to be proving any damage. If they got no electricity, no internet connection, not quite sure how the hell they're going to be filling out the forms and sending in pictures of property damage, especially if their house just went off the hillside in a mudslide. It's amazing how much Americans are just willing to tolerate from the blood-sucking regime that rules over them. For the land of the free and the brave. Well, you're not free, and you haven't been free in a long time. You're obviously not brave because you're allowing the government, the federal government, to screw you nonstop. And the states aren't very brave either because they're not really doing anything. So they're doing whatever they can to help. But then you got the state of Tennessee, for example. 700 National Guard are federalized, and off they go to, the Middle East, while the state's collapsing. Well, there's massive damage and casualties in the mountains. If the state governor had any backbone, and obviously he doesn't. It's a pity what the South has turned into, really. Spineless, absolutely spineless governors, spineless state assemblies. At this point, he would have pulled those troops back, having defederalized whether the federal government wants it or not, and sent them in there to help the state. That, first and foremost, that is what the National Guard is made for. The State National Guard. And that's not what they're being used for. So, you know, I mean, it's pathetic. I mean, it really is pathetic. And then comes out that Fort Liberty, what used to be Fort Bragg. I mean, who comes up with these idiotic names? Fort Liberty? Seriously? I mean, I understand his pond scum living in Washington. You'd think they'd have a little more creativity behind them than Fort Liberty. There's not enough generals or colonels or Medal of Honor awardees to name a fort after. Fort Bragg was a perfectly fine name. for a Confederate general, and a good one. So anyways, Fort Liberty. They got a bunch of 82nd Airborne guys from North Carolina whose families are suffering, maybe dead. And the regime, the vampiric regime, won't let them take leave to go find or to help their families. I mean, seriously? Is it because you're getting ready to throw them into the meat grinder against us? But they can meet their families when they go meet God? Is that the point? Well, it seems like it. You know, if I had to put one and one together in non-woke math, that'd still be two. So there, maybe that's the regime's deal. Can't let you out because you're gonna go die soon. So God forbid, you won't be in place to get shipped off and die as fast as possible. Oh. So again, where's the free? Where's the brave? Ain't no brave. The federal, you got FEMA that's bankrupt. I mean, right now there should be massive protests in all, at least the southern states, at least the southeastern states. Massive protests. You got FEMA that comes out and says straight off the bat, we're bankrupt, because we know, putting up all the massive volumes of illegals in 4-star plus hotels and giving them out $9,000 a month for arriving and pocket money afterwards. That takes a lot of funds when there's like 10 million of them. But you subhuman peasants that pay for all this, you're not worth anything to the regime. That's exactly what they just told you. We're bankrupt. Bankrupt for scum like you. The real people, the top ones, the ones that are going to be voting for us. Because we're suspending registration thanks to this little emergency. Rahm Emanuel, never let an emergency go to waste. Those people, those are the people that are important. Not your kids, not your future, nothing. At this point, there should be massive demonstrations. There aren't. There aren't. Which means the South is neutered, unfortunate to say. It's not home of the brave, it's not home of anybody with a backbone. To the fact that nobody even gets off their ass to do anything. No, I'm not going to let you Europeans off the hook either. 4 days ago, an American HIMARS system with Americans shooting and Americans guiding, true, it wasn't attacking, it was shorter range missiles, landed near Kursk nuclear power plant. Now, they didn't hit the Kursk nuclear power plant. Or about a kilometer or two off. So, just outside of how Moscow should respond and all that, I'm not going to get into it right now. I'm hardliner. But just for you Euro fools sitting there and not understanding what the hell that means. If that nuclear power plant was to go up, now the cooling stations, they're not going to go. They're made, they're designed to withstand a Boeing 747 slamming into them at full speed. They're not going to go anywhere. However, you got one or two things that could happen. You could hit the containment area for used fuel rods, and then you get a huge dirty bomb. Well, that's not that big of an issue because it's still a maximum couple square kilometers that are radioactive. Worst case is you take out the coolant system that cools the power plants, and you get another Chernobyl, which is nuclear terrorism. Oh gosh, darn it! The American regime is committing terrorism. Really? The root of all modern terrorism is committing terrorism on a state level. Gee, we haven't seen this before. And of course, yes, most of Kursk province would have to be evacuated, like Chernobyl was. There's a big question in Chernobyl whether that was CIA that screwed the computer systems up, that caused the Chernobyl incident. Big questions on that still open. But what most Euros don't remember or don't have any concept of is that cloud, radioactive material in Chernobyl, went up. That reached Scotland. About 10 years, the Highlanders weren't allowed to take their sheep up into the higher highland pastures because it was all irradiated fallout from that big boom. And guess what's going to happen this time? Of course, you know, after 10 years, most of the radioactive material has just simply washed down into the lowlands. So you're still getting it into your diet, one way or the other. You know, if it's going into the fish and the bays, the mouths of the river. So that's going to go. And the first countries that are going to get hit are the ones that probably deserve it the most because of the way they're acting. It's going to be Poland. Pretty Baltic, the three midget vampire statelets. Leeches, better way to put it. Poland, Germany, Denmark, that keeps screaming for war. Pissant Denmark wants war. Yeah, that's probably one of the only European countries we haven't ever had a war with, for one reason or another. I guess they weren't in the club. Okay, population of Denmark's pretty small. Won't take much to cause a full demographic collapse. But the immigrants are there, so they'll take over. No problems. No problems at all. And by the way, the Polish mercs have been fingered most of all in murdering civilians in Kursk. They're not being taken prisoner. All the mercs are getting sent to hell. Personally, you know, in my opinion, and I've said this before, and so has Vladimir Solovyov, as a matter of fact. On his show said it. All the dead mercs, you know, with full respect to human bodies and all, should be put in caskets, and those caskets should be lined up in front of each of the embassies. Take away your trash. There's quite a few Americans that are going to be lined up there in front of the U.S. Embassy. They'll probably block a whole street. There's been at least 1,000, somewhere close to 1,000 dead Americans. And a couple of them get whacked every day fighting for the Nazis. How appropriate. But the number one group of mercs in Kursk are Israelis. Number two, by the way, are Islamic terrorists out of Syria, the ones that America trains, and the Israelis assist. Go figure on that one. But yes, number one merc murders in Kursk are Israelis, Israeli Jews. Yep, there you go, right there. So, take that as you like. And Israel seems to be hell-bent on its own extermination. And people are too stupid to also to realize. I mean, they're celebrating they went, these morons were celebrating they went into southern Lebanon, because they're planning on annexing southern Lebanon. You know, protection zone. It's kind of like the West Bank. It's a protection zone where we just wipe out, push out, murder off the local population, and then settle it with settlers from America. Psychopaths that come over to the other side of the world to shoot the locals and build their houses on top of their houses. Go figure, right? And all with the support of American evangelicals. We're all too happy to see other Christians murdered for their superior masters, just so they can get their Armageddon. Never mind what Christ said. Not even Christ knows the day and the hour and the minute of the second coming. But the evangelicals, through their heretical rapture, have decided they're going to force God's hand. Yeah, okay. Not going to happen, but they're going to try. And in so doing, they're murdering off, or helping to murder off, quite a few Christians. So, how do you think God's going to talk to you about that? Do a deep down search as you support a regime that murders Christians. And you support it with money, funds, and moral support. A regime that murders Christians. Think about that. One day you're going to have a nice, in-depth talk with God. And maybe that theme's going to come up. And you're going to say to God, what? We wanted the end of the world, so we're happy to murder Christian women and children because we're really good Christians, we're saints? Because that's what they think of themselves. Yeah, the dissonance there is mind-boggling. You could write whole books, psychology, on that alone. So, right there for that. There are a lot of cars passing by today. Drooly. Sorry. Get up. Lucky. Anyways, so there's that. A lot of cars. God's sakes. Usually a pretty dead road. I guess everybody decided to pass by today. Since I'm walking and videotaping. Сядь. Anyways. So yeah. It's interesting how all of that connects. And then you get Ukrainian Nazis helping out Islamic terrorists in Mali to try to overthrow that government, because that government threw out the French colonial masters and their black management, and so on and so on. It's all interconnected. It's not even hidden. I mean, it's out in front of your eyes. You just have to look a little bit. So yeah, so you Germans, Danes, Scots and Brits, Poles, if that nuclear power plant goes off into meltdown, what do you think is going to happen to you and your kitties? Welcome to your ignorance. It's going to bite you in the ass without you even having to go off to get butchered in a meat grinder called the Eastern Front. But I guess Europeans are terminally dumb when it comes to things like that, or lazy. Allow their masters and their owners to do whatever they want with them. I mean, hell, if Cologne could have 1,000 women raped in one night, and the men in Germany do nothing. You know what happened in Russia? There have been bodies hanging from every single flagpole, and traffic light, and street light. I mean, and you call yourselves men. Estrogen-laden soy boys. I wouldn't even call boys soy things. You have 1,000 women, your mothers, your sisters, your daughters, your girlfriends, your wives, raped by illegals, or I guess they were legals because Merkel accepted them all in. And it's been going on and on and on. Great, maybe not in that volume that year, but it's been going on everywhere in Europe, except for the only two nations that have any kind. Well, Poland too. Poland has been blocking it, though Tusk is bringing them in. And though Poland's as Russophobic as it humanly gets, they're not all Poles, thankfully. With Michael Krupp is a prime example of a normal, sensible Pole. And we can disagree when we talk on certain issues as human beings, as Slavs, not as enemies. But the Polish elite and the majority of people that support that Polish elite are dumbass ignorant, just like like the average European. So outside of Serbia, not because of Vucic, Vucic would like nothing better than to be a place rug for the Europeans, as long as they'll drop a few pennies as they wipe their feet on him and on Serbia. Except for Orban and Robert Fico. So Slovakia, Hungary, maybe Austria will finally have enough balls to really elect a supermajority conservative party. Maybe. But other than a few of these countries, for the vast majority, it's the same thing. You're just being replaced, and you're tolerating it. You're marching to war, and you're tolerating it. Knowing that you and your kids are going to get butchered off, and you're tolerating it. What else can be said? God bless. And one last thing, because I always forget to do this. Hit like, hit subscribe, please. And if you would like to join me on Patreon, sign up on Patreon. And you can get in direct contact with me through that. Ask your questions. I'll give you the best answers I can on a one-to-one basis. So look me up on Patreon. Links in the description. I'd say buy me a coffee, but buy me a coffee blocked my account. So for whatever reason, and confiscated the money that was on there. So kind of like Kickstarter and all those others like to do. So if you're posting anything they don't particularly like, whatever their morality of the week is. So anyways, if you can support, I'll be more than happy to say thank you. Never like asking. It's just not, it's the pride thing. But times are hard, so that's how that is. And if you want to help the front lines, let me know. Join up, and I'll say I'll tell you how you can help. Or if you come to Russia, when we're going down there, I'll take you down there. So you can see things with your own eyes. So, all right, hit like, hit subscribe. God bless.